Good afternoon. This is Tim Hill. It's April 15th, Friday, at about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, trying to bring you an update on the pension legislation, Senate Bill 1609. The bill passed the House with a 49-page substitute floor amendment yesterday evening. So we're just trying to bring you up to date. The next step is it will likely be voted on in the Senate on Monday, I suspect. If not Monday, then Tuesday, and it will be sent to the governor, where I'm confident that it will be signed and not vetoed. We've made great progress with the bill over the last 5 to 7 days. I'm sorry there was no video update last week, but there was no floor action or committee action on it, and we were in pretty heavy-duty, intense negotiations with the governor's office. And fortunately, a group of Republican legislators in the House who were just going to vote no over the items that were in the bill prior to this amendment. So while I'm sorry that this is the first diminishment of benefits in the pension system in the history of the PFFA, I'm also somewhat happy that we were able to make vast improvements to the underlying bill so that it would do a minimum of harm to anyone. And this report does not include, we still have to finish going through the calculation of whether or not we want to seek legal action to overturn the bill, or at least portions of the bill. And that will be a discussion that I and Roger and Brian Jeffries and the trustees will have with the executive board and the IFF, because this can have legal implications for firefighters across the country and their state systems. But now I want to bring you up to date on where the bill is at, and I have to say that it's unlikely that there will be any changes going forward to the bill prior to it being signed by the governor. There are quite a few changes, so I'm going to try to go through them item by item. And I also want to tell you right now, while I remember, I did an email that I just sent out to all of the local presidents, which they should be forwarding to you, that go through these individual details in the bill as well. But I'll hit the high points first, because I know the members are really concerned about the COLA, the drop, buying military time, and so on. The first item we'll cover is the COLA. The COLA will be paid out this year under its current formula. So all retirees will get that 4% increase in July of 2011. However, as of July 1st, 2011, the excess earnings account will be closed, which means there will be no new money that will flow in to the excess earnings account. Whatever money is left in that account after the COLA is paid out this year, and there will be some, will be paid out in next year's COLA, the 2012 COLA. So I don't expect that that will be the full 4%. It'll be some fraction of that, and I apologize, but I cannot tell you right now what that amount in 2012 will be. After the remainder of that money is paid out in 2012, the existing COLA formula and the excess earnings account will cease to exist. On July 1st, 2013, the new COLA formula and calculation will be implemented. And I really urge you to go to the email and view how that formula works, because it is an incremental or step-by-step process. But I'll try to walk you through it real briefly. There will be some form of COLA paid as long as the funded status of the fund is 60% or greater. Today that funded status is 67.7%. If, however, should the funded status of the fund ever fall below 60%, there will be no COLA paid. But today, if it is 60% funded, here's how it will work. If it's funded between 60 and 65%, you'll get up to a 1% increase. 65 to 70%, 2%. And it goes up in 0.5% increments till the most that a retiree can get is 4% if the fund is at an 80% funded level. We do not expect to reach the 80% funded level for a number of years to come. In addition, when there are excess earnings, those excess earnings have to be in excess of 10.5% a year. So again, let's go back to our example. The fund is funded at 63%, and the fund in that year earns 10.5% or more. You will get an increase of up to 1%. What do I mean by that? Let's say the fund earned 11%. So we were eligible for 0.5% of that money for increases. And that produced $20 million. Well, let's say the 1% cost $40 million to give every retiree a permanent increase. And these increases will continue to be permanent. Well, in that case, each retiree would only get an increase of 0.5%. In addition, there will be no carryover. Under today's COLA, we keep half of everything that the fund earns over 9.5%. So even in bad years, there's been enough money in there to provide for a COLA. That will no longer be the case. In any given year, the money that will be used to provide a permanent increase will be only for that year. If there's any money above and beyond that, it will stay with the underlying fund to improve the health, the financial health of PSPRS. Next on our list is the employee contribution rate. We have for years paid a fixed rate of 7.65%, and the employers have paid the float, which most times have been very good for them. Today it's not so good for them. But what's going to happen with the active employee contribution rate is it's going to go up a total of 4% over the next 5 years. And again, I'd encourage you to go back to the email. I've got it detailed in there how it's going to escalate. The first increase is going to be July 1st of 2011. The employee contribution rate will go up 1%. The amount of the increases becomes smaller as we go through the years, but does top out at 11.65%. The other part of the employee contribution rate that's important to us is it says that at the end of that escalation that we will pay 11.65% or 1/3 of the total contribution rate. What's the total contribution rate? It's the employee's share plus the employer's share. So that's the total rate. So in 2016 we will pay either 11.65% or 1/3 of the total, whichever is less, but can never be more than 11.65% nor less than 7.65%. The drop. Under the bill prior to the amendment, there were 3 tiers of the drop. Those with 20, those with less than 20 nor more than 5, and those with less than 5 would have had no drop. We were able to change that language in the amendment to say that 20 years or more on the job, or 20 years or more of credited service, which includes military time you purchased or transfers from other pension systems. So if you have 20 years or more of credit service as of January 1st of 2012, your drop is unchanged. It's the same as it is today. If you have less than 20 years, but are on the job, so anybody from 1 day to 20 years on the job, you will still have a drop. But the difference is you will continue to make those employee contributions while you're in the drop. And the rate of interest that you will earn will be based on the earnings of the fund, but will never be less than 2% in any 1 year, nor more than the assumed earnings rate of the fund, which is currently 8%. So you will receive a floating interest rate between 2 and 8%. So we've covered the COLA, we've covered the employee contribution rate, and we've covered the drop. Well, the other thing I should say about the drop is future hires will not have a drop. The other thing on the employee contribution rate that's changed is all employees, current and future, will pay the same rate. The next item I want to touch on is military service and purchase of other service time. Currently, anyone in the system today can buy up to 4 years of time, and they can do that at any point in their career. What's going to happen now is you're going to be able to buy 5 years of time instead of 4 years of time. But you're going to have at least 10 years of service in PSPRS before you can do that. The next change is you will not be able to use any year to collect two pensions. What do I mean by that? Say you served, we have a few members who've served a full 20 years in the military and are either eligible to collect that pension or are actually collecting it. So any years that you're actually eligible to collect another pension on, you will not be able to purchase those as years of credited service in PSPRS. So anyone who is retired from the military collecting a military pension will not be able to purchase any of those years. Rural Metro time, you can still purchase just as you can today. Again, with the 10-year current service proviso, and state transfers and local transfers, those will be unchanged, except again, of course, you cannot be collecting two pensions off of the same year, and you must have 10 years of service in PSPRS before you collect that. That's really important because, of course, we do have those members who are going to want to buy some time in order to qualify for the current non-contributory drop. The other piece that's really important with this, due to every single Democrat voting no and 4 Republicans voting no, they were not able to invoke the emergency clause. Well, what that means is if they had the emergency clause, at the moment that the governor signed the bill, you would no longer be able to buy, some of you would not be able to buy that time in enough time to get your credited service for the non-contributory drop. So we really appreciate every single Democrat voting no and the 4 Republicans, which include Jim and Jerry Wires, Terry Proud, and Mr. Gowan, voting no on that bill. So the bill will go into effect at the 90-day general effective date. So those of you who are interested in buying time, please look at how much time you need to buy and when you need to do it. The next piece would be pension forfeiture. Today, under the law, you have, if you commit a crime and the judge invokes restitution, that can come out of your pension. The new language, which we will try to readdress next year with the support of the governor, I might add, is that if you're convicted of committing a Class 5 felony or higher in the course of your duties or on duty, you can lose some or all of your pension. A new hire will lose all. Those of us that are here today would be from the date of the crime going forward. It's kind of a synopsis of the bill. We'll get another one out next week after it passes the Senate. It is signed by the governor to talk to you all about who our friends were in this, who opposed us, and who we could really count on. In the meantime, I really urge you to go again to the email and look at it for your specific questions about years of service, drop, COLA, and those items. And if you still have any questions, please feel free to call, but please go through the email first because there are many, many members who have questions and we're trying to handle as many of those as possible. I appreciate all the phone calls and the emails that our members made to legislative members, which made a huge, huge difference when they felt the pressure from us as well as the governor's office. And I have to say the governor's office was very helpful and very instrumental in getting this done, and we appreciate her and her staff for helping us. Thank you.